In this video, I'm going to show y'all the best way to set up your reverbs in FL Studio. All right, so there's really two different ways to set up your reverb. The first way would be to load the reverb plugin directly on your track. So for this example, we're just going to use the vocal track within the mixer right here. So what you would typically do is just click on your vocal track and then come over here to an empty plugin slot, and you would load a reverb plugin. So I'm gonna come over here to the stock plugin, Fruity Reverb 2. And then since this reverb plugin is loaded directly on the vocal, what you would need to do is basically dial in how much reverb you want by utilizing the wet and the dry knobs right here. And what this is gonna do is it's basically going to blend in the reverb with your original vocal track that's being fed into this plugin. So if you only wanted a small amount of reverb, you would actually pull up the dry signal, which is just the regular vocal by itself, and then you would kind of dial back or find the sweet spot for the wet slider right here, and this is like how much reverb you're going to blend into the signal. Now this is probably the more quicker way to add reverb to your tracks within FL Studio, but this is going to give you some problems as far as the control over the reverb. Because if you're someone who wants to add further plugin processing to the reverb and really shape its sound, or if you want to add more plugins to your actual vocal, you're not going to be able to do that because you've now baked in your reverb to the original vocal, right? There's still one audio signal traveling through this vocal track. So if you're wanting to add like an EQ or a compressor or a distortion plugin that only affects the reverb sound, you can't do that by loading that plugin right here in slot 10, because if you do that, it's not only going to affect the reverb signal, but it's going to affect the actual vocal itself, because the vocal and the reverb are really just one audio signal traveling through this vocal track. So the best solution to this is just to go ahead and remove that reverb plugin directly off your vocal track. If you're gonna add any effects to your vocal, you want to basically add those effects on their own vocal track. You can see right here next to my vocal track on mixer channel number 37, I have my vocal plate reverb track set up. And on this mixer channel, I have my reverb plugin loaded right here. And then that's feeding into an EQ where I'm rolling off some of the low end, and then that is also feeding into a compressor, which is set up in sidechain mode, so it's only ducking the reverb slightly whenever the vocal is actually playing. So once the vocal is complete, the compressor lets go and brings that reverb back up to its original volume level. Really, all we need to do to set this up correctly is we need to feed our lead vocal into our reverb's mixer channel. So right here on mixer track number 37, this is where we have our reverb set up. So if I select the vocal and then I come over here to the bottom of the reverb's mixer channel and hit this arrow right here, you're gonna see that now we're feeding a copy of our lead vocal into the reverb's mixer track. I can control the volume of my reverb within the entire mix by utilizing this volume fader right here. And it gives me the ability to further process the reverb by itself. So I can add things like this EQ right here. I can add this sidechain compression. If I were to load these directly on my lead vocal track, it would sound terrible because this EQ right here would be rolling off all of the low end, and that's not what I want. And as you can see right here next to the plate reverb mixer track, I also have a vocal delay mixer track set up where I have my delay plugin, and then that's feeding into this EQ right here so I can shape the tone of just the delay by itself. So again, all I would need to do is just feed the lead vocal into the delay's mixer track. And now I have control over my reverb and my delay by themselves, and I can do anything I want to those by themselves without affecting the lead vocal.
Maybe I could be strong enough to hold it all together, oh, 'cause happiness is free. But it seems that nothing can change the fact that it never lasts forever, no. Thought I knew it all, didn't learn from things I saw. Guess I was caught up in the moment and it's all my fault, but I can't take nothing back.
So this also gives me the ability to be much more creative whenever I'm mixing and adding effects like reverb and delay, because I can really experiment with the textures of the reverb and delay without affecting the lead vocal. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed the content. Please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see y'all in the next video.